Alright guys, so I promised y'all a pre-trip video, so here it is. Here's my truck right here beside the yellow one. So first off, you want to make sure that your truck is not leaning side to side. Make sure there's look underneath to make sure there's no leaks. Let's start with the headlights. First off, you want to make sure that this turn signal and marker light is not cracked, damaged, or broken, and is amber in color. You want to make sure that the headlights, both these headlights, are not cracked, bent, or broken, clear in color. If you have a floodlight, make sure the same with that one. And you want to make sure that this one is also amber in color, not cracked, broken, or leaking. Same thing with these two headlights, same thing with that one. Second of all, you want to make sure that your hood mirror right here is properly installed, not cracked, bent, or broken. Same thing on both sides here. You also want to make sure that your key is in your pocket. Let's pop the hood now. Give me a second, put my phone down for a minute. Okay, so basically when you do this, you want to start from top to bottom. It's the easiest way to do it. Let's start over here on the passenger side. First off, you want to make sure that all your hoses are not frayed, cracked, or leaking. Okay? All your hoses. You want to make sure that your hose clamps are properly secured. You want to make sure that there's no, I forget what you call it. You want to make sure there's no stuff leaking out of that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please leave a comment below. And then you want to make sure that your belt is properly secured. There's not too much slack in it. I forget, to be honest with you guys, I forget what how much slack you can have. It's been a while since I can remember. You also want to make sure that your hoses on your brakes are also properly secured, not frayed, cracked, or leaking. Your shock absorber, you want to make sure that's properly secured, not broken. Your leaf spring, you want to make sure that your leaf spring is properly secured, not broken. Your U-bolts, you want to make sure that's properly secured, not broken. Now, here's one thing I always forgot. Your water pump, you want to make sure that that is also properly secured, not leaking or broken. And you want to make sure that your alternator is properly secured, not bent, broken, or missing. Your brake chamber, you want to make sure that your brake chamber is properly secured, not bent or broken. Your slack adjuster, you want to make sure that is properly secured, not broken, and it is at a 90 degree angle when the brakes are released. My brakes are not released right now, so and then you also want to make sure that your brake pads in here are also lined up with the drum. I forget the gap. I think 3/4 inch is what you cannot have, or what you can be allowed. And the brake drum, you want to make sure that is properly secured as well. The inside of the tire, you want to make sure there's no frays, no cuts, or anything like that, no bubbles. The inside of the tire. And on the outside of the tire, you want to make, on the top here, you want to make sure that there's no nails, no wood or anything like that sticking onto the tire. And you also want to make sure these are 4/32. They sell the tire meters in the truck stops as well. You want to check your valve stem, make sure that's properly secured, not leaking. Check the outside of the tire, make sure there's no bubbles, cuts, or frays. Your lug nuts, you want to make sure those are properly secured, not loose, and Then you want to make sure that your hub seal, sorry guys, you want to make sure that your hub seal is properly secured, not leaking, and is filled to manufacturer specs. Let's go around to the other side of the truck. Okay, so you want to make sure all your electrical wiring is properly secured, not broken, and not cut. You want to make sure that your coolant is filled to manufacturer specs, not leaking or anything like that. And make sure that your hoses on this side are also properly secured, not leaking, not cut. You make sure your oil is also you want to make sure that your oil dipstick, that when you pull that out, it is filled to manufacturer specs and there is no metal shavings. Your power steering, you want to make sure that's properly secured, not broken, not cracked, not leaking. Your steering linkage, you want to make sure that's properly secured, and no more than, I think it's 1 inch of play, I believe it is. Your pitman arm, you want to make sure that is properly secured, not broken. Same thing with the U-bolts, leaf spring, shock absorber, stuff like that. Your air governor is usually in the back. Okay, I was wondering what that red light was right there. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah, you want to make sure that the air governor, that your air governor back there, it looks like it right back here. And make sure that's not broken or leaking air. Same thing with the brakes, like we covered on the other on the other side of the cab. Your fuse box is over here. You want to make sure that is properly secured, not broken, not missing. I'm not exactly for sure what this is. Your oil, you want to make sure that where you add the oil is properly secured, not broken, the cap is not missing. Your light right here, you want to make sure that's properly secured, amber in color, not broken, not cracked. Your windshield, you want to make sure that's properly secured, not cracked, not leaking. Same thing with the clearance lights, not cracked, not leaking, amber in color. You want to make sure your mirror is properly secured, not broken, no illegal stickers. Same thing with your window. And you want to make sure your steps are also properly secured, not broken, not missing. Make sure that you have your 2019 IFTA sticker and your FMCSA inspection sticker. You want to make sure you have that as well. You want to make sure that you have extra fuses and fire extinguisher in your 3 reflective triangles. That will be in the side box. It should be at all times. You want to make sure that your batteries are properly secured, not bent or not broken, not missing. Or DEF fluid, you want to make sure that is properly secured, not missing. I'll get my keys out here. Before you start the exam too, you want to say that your keys are in your pocket. Then you want to check this grab handle in here to make sure it's properly secured and it's not loose. You want to make sure your permit book is inside the door or wherever your company leaves it. And all you got to do now is make sure the steps can hold your weight, which only weigh 125 pounds, so we're good. The Freightliner Cascadias, this is where you open up the side door at. My truck don't have a side door on the passenger side, so we're good on that. You want to make sure that your door panel is properly secured, not broken or missing. You want to make sure your fuel tank cap is properly secured, not broken or missing. You want to make sure that the fuel tank strap, you can't really see it, I'm sorry. This is it right here. You want to make sure that's properly secured, not bent. Not bent or broken or missing. You want to make sure there's no fuel leaking out of there either. You want to make sure that all your air lines are properly secured. I'm not attached to a trailer right now, so you want to make sure your air lines are properly secured, not bent, not broken, not missing, not leaking. You make sure this grab handle back here is also properly secured. Make sure your catwalk is properly secured, not bent, not broken. You want to make sure that your airbags back here are properly secured, not leaking. Your shock absorbers, you want to make sure those are not bent. Shock absorber, you want to make sure that's not bent, not broken, not missing, not leaking. The drive shaft, you want to make sure that's not bent, broken, or missing. You want to make sure that your frame has no illegal welds. You want to make sure it is properly secured, not broken, not missing, and all the bolts are tight. You want to make sure all the wiring back here and hoses and stuff like that back here are also, inner airbags back there are also properly secured, not leaking. Your air tanks back down here, your primary and your secondary air tanks are properly secured, not broken or missing or leaking. You want to make sure your tires back here. I'm not really going to cover that too much. You want to make sure that your tires are properly secured, not broken or missing. Because I have seen trucks going down the road with no tires on them. Same thing with the brakes, leaf springs, stuff like that. You want to make sure that your fifth wheel is properly secured, not missing, not broken. You want to make sure the bolts are holding it down and the skid plate is there. Okay, you want to make sure all your lights back here are properly secured, not broken, not missing, that the reverse light is clear in color, and the brake and turn signals are also red in color. Then you got your two reflectors there. You also want to make sure all this back here is also properly secured, not broken, not missing. You also got two other airbags. You want to make sure that your mud flaps are properly secured, not broken, not missing. And you also want to make sure that you got that reflective tape, and you need to make sure that mud flap is no more than 8 inches off the ground. Guys, if I'm wrong on some of this stuff, please let me know. You want to make sure that your chain box, your chain holder, is properly secured, not broken, not missing. Same thing with the shock absorber on this side as well. Your work lights are properly secured, not broken, not missing, no cracks, and they are clear in color. Same thing with the mirror on this side. Make sure it's properly secured, not broken, not missing. Make sure you have your 2019 IFTA sticker, and some companies have this on there, some don't. Check your fuel tank on this side as well. But usually when you get to the right side of the cab, you can tell your instructor, I would do the same thing on this side as I would do on the other side, and sometimes they'll let you go ahead and just pass with that. Also, your exhaust, you want to make sure that's properly secured, not broken, not missing, and the clamps are in place, and there's no soot. That's what I need to say up here. You want to make sure there's no soot coming out of these at all. Okay. Your washer fluid, you want to make sure that's properly secured and filled to manufacturer specs and not leaking. Okay. Let's go ahead and close the hood up. Okay, let's get inside the cab. Okay, first things first. You want to really put your seatbelt on, because that is part of the exam, and if you do not put that on for the in-cab inspection, they will fail you. You want to tell them that your seatbelt is properly secured, not broken, not missing, no tears. Physically clip the seatbelt in. Okay? And then tell the instructor that your mirrors are properly secured, not broken, not missing, no cracks, and no illegal stickers. Same thing with the windows, windshield's not broken, not cracked. I do have a little crack up there, but besides that, okay. Same thing with the windows over there as well. You want to make sure that your steering wheel is properly secured, not broken, not missing. You also want to make sure that your mirrors are where you want them to be. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to perform a safe start. I'm going to let all the gauges do what they need to do. If that check engine light is on, don't worry about that. That will go off when you start the truck. Or sometimes you can sit here and wait on that check engine light to go off before you start the truck. But I don't usually. See, there you go. It went off. Okay. So while you have your seatbelt on, mine is on. Okay. you want to perform a gauge check. This is how I did it. The main components that are going to be on the gauges on most road test trucks are the oil, RPM, water, fuel, miles per hour, oil, air pressure. But mine has axle, oil, stuff like that. Okay, so your oil. I'm not used to having that gauge right there. You want to make sure that you are at a good idle. Your water temperature is no more above than 200 degrees. Your fuel level, of course, that's self-explanatory. Your oil, you want to have no more than, I think it's 25 psi. Your air gauges, you need to make sure that they are also no more than above, they need to be up at 140 psi, which mine are not right now. Mine usually stay right there where they're at when I'm sitting idling. And you want to perform a quick sweep of your gauges here. Just make sure that everything's good on that. You want to make sure that your defrosters are working properly. You want to put your hand. You physically want to put your hand up there and make sure that it works. And you also want to put your hand down there, which, sorry, y'all can't really see that, but you want to put your hand down there to make sure your defroster down there works as well. Okay, so now what we need to do is push in the brake, because we're going to do an air brake test. Make sure the truck does not move anywhere. And perform a safe shutdown.
Messaging.
Then turn the key once. Do not start the truck. Okay, so you're sitting at about 140 psi. Mine's sitting at about 100. That's okay. You want to put your foot on the service brake for 1 minute. Make sure that you don't lose more than 3 psi in 1 minute. I'm not really going to sit here for 1 minute, but I'll sit here for 1 minute real quick. Okay. After that, you want to start fanning down your brakes between 70 and 60 psi. Your